Hello everybody, I'm Mario here once again, and I'm Luigi here. We are from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Mario Kart Double Dash for the Nintendo GameCube. So last time we have basically just went through 50cc Star Cup as well as the Special Cup. So today for this episode is the fact that we were going to be able to take on the forms of the final cup in terms of 50cc before we move on to 100cc until specifically next week. And because of this though, let's go for a different combination of character selections. This time around we'll go through Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. Yeah, in this case are past versions of ourselves ever since in journey forms have been let's just say in Yoshi's Island basically. So anyway, so with the forms of the All Cup Tour, as you can see, for their 5th and final cup in between each classes, as you can see, basically, as you can tell, we need to race through about 16 tracks. So in this case, it's a giant marathon. Even though that was before when Mario Kart DS was a thing, whenever they managed to include the versus mode, and that way you can able to actually racing onto, well, all the tracks throughout the whole game. Except the fact that in this particular game, it's just the Grand Prix kind of stuff. So even then though, basically what this involves around is the fact that, well, it always starts off in the forms of Luigi Circuit, because to be expected, this is one of the easiest simple course throughout the whole game. But then it ended until specifically Rainbow Road. And until when it gets to the point until track 2 all the way up to track number 15, some of these courses can be pretty much randomized, so it's not always in exact order, because in this case, let's just say for example that if we manage to finish up with our race in journey forms of Luigi Circuit, and then the next thing after that though, or in this case the next race after this, it will be, depending on the randomizable track layouts, mainly with the forms of Peach Beach or something like that. Well, you'll see why in just a moment, until whenever we're able to, you know, proceeding for this particular track, as you can see. So yeah, obviously if you couldn't tell for the sake of today for this point, guys, is the fact that recently today it is the 9th of October today, in this case in 2020. Tomorrow that the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic TV series will become a decade old. Yeah, ever since the one that started it all, journeying back in 2010 in 10th of October, so at least specifically in America, because even then though, because of that though, I exactly know what this is all about. Even though it wasn't in the UK version, however though, for the actual release date, because I'm presuming that in the UK release originally, it was actually in 2011 from Boomerang, so, but later on though, it brought that show back, but on the forms of Tiny Hop instead of, you know, Boomerang, because, well, I just have no idea why I'm just gonna be okay with that particular channel choice, despite the actual target audience for, you know, Tiny Pop, it was actually, like, younger kids, as far as I can usually think about that such. So, anyway, so let's move on to the next course, which, again, it's all randomized, and in this case in particular, we're about to be racing onto Peach Beach once again. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of repeats and journey forms of, you know, revisiting some of these previous courses again. So because of this though, we're able to actually point things out in some form or another. So anyway though, a few things also I want to explain also is the fact that perfect opportunity until whenever we're able to do this game in particular, because eventually next week, that the Mario Kart Live Home Circuit will be releasing next week. At least specifically Luigi, it was on our country in the United Kingdom as well as the United States, including Japan as well. I'm not exactly sure about the other countries though, but either way though, because we haven't exactly researched on that specific stuff since then, so yeah, that's how it usually goes from this point, Luigi. And for what I've seen the actual overview trailer back in the past, that it's actually pretty interesting. And in fact, the good news about the forms of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is that carpets did manage to work, assuming if the actual, depending on the thickness that, usually because of how the fact that usually for RC cars nowadays, sometimes it might able to work in the actual rugs or carpets, but most of the time it doesn't. So either way though, good news about Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, it does manage to work on carpet, so that's a good thing. And also you can able to actually just to realize that yes, there's going to be a Grand Prix mode just like the usual. However, the biggest difference is this time around though, ever since this game came around, basically, I'm pretty sure that Mario Kart Live Home Circuit does not include the retro tracks this time around though, which is a bit odd to say the least, especially noticeable because of how the fact that this is actually a prior to, let's just say the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Lineup or something like that, because, you know, relatively speaking, is the fact that, well, I'm pretty sure you can able to customize your very own layout of tracks or anything like that, but it's always is pretty obvious, Luigi, is the fact that you always have to rely on these little gates until you're able to actually just to customize their own hazards or anything like that. But either way though, enough about that, and let's move on to the next course, which turns out we're going to be exploring into Bowser's Castle straight away, early throughout the course of this entire cup. So yeah, you probably get the idea about the forms of the randomizable, you know, courses that we might able to actually racing onto. So either way though, that's as far as I can usually think about this. So let's go to, you know, to the Bowser's Castle itself, once again. Except the fact that we're now going to be playing as the baby counterparts of ourselves. So, but you know. And, oh yeah, another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that recently, ever since about 2 days ago actually, that I suppose that Sonic has not even mentioned about this, ever since in Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll Let's Play so far, recently is the fact that Nintendo once again managed to did done a Nintendo Treehouse Live, which this time around though, it actually focuses on 2 other games, which are about to be slowly approaching until eventually by the end of the year. Like, to be more specifically, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and also the same applies to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So, in this case in particular, is the fact that for Pikmin 3 Deluxe, not much else has been special about this, apart from the fact that, well, the only changes they may able to actually just noticing this from the start is the fact that basically they now have an easy lock-on technology or the lock-on targeting system, which I think it might behave exactly quite differently compared to the original version of the game on the Wii U. And also, in addition to that though, Luigi, is the fact that you can now able to actually see the built-in map on the bottom right corner, so you don't have to like continuously look up and down in between the TV screen as well as the Wii U gamepad mode. So, at least I'm very glad that was the case, because either way though, despite we still Pikmin out, which meaning about the fact that we managed to able to give up on hype on Pikmin 4 after all, but even then though, because of that though, Luigi, is the fact that sometimes, you know, development schedule might be pretty much take forever to able to actually just to realize they're about to be making games, although in this year's case, it'll take a lot longer because of the forms of the stupid pandemic, mind you. But either way though, I'm sure that someone else can able to talk more about that, until specifically until tomorrow for the 10th anniversary of the My Little Pony Friendship Magic TV series. So, especially since how the fact that we are the brony for a very, very long time now. Well, at least even then though, Luigi, is the fact that we're actually getting pretty dang good, even for able to become a brony like that. So, either way though, there's not much else to say here, so... Anyway though, yeah, let's talk about another things they've sort of mentioned about the forms of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Aside from those graphical alterations, specifically, they managed to able to actually obviously manage to upgrade the actual quality in TV play, or in this case docked mode, that gets like 1080p, and then on tabletop mode or handheld mode was in 720p, so it makes a little bit more of a better quality than the forms of how it does it on the Wii U gamepad straight off the bat. And also is the fact that I'm pretty sure the frame rate is pretty much exactly the same as the forms of the original version. And also to top it off though, Luigi, oh wow, we just get double hit by not only a banana peel, but it's also the fireball as well. Jeez, talk about the forms of double hits and stuff like that. Yeah, I know, Luigi, I pretty much know about that, so... Anyway though, another thing they did manage to finally add it in ever since in the Nintendo Wii versions of Pikmin 1 and 2, and especially noticeable with the latest Pikmin game in the series, but in forms of Hey Pikmin for the Nintendo 3DS. Thank God, Pikmin 3 Deluxe now finally has a save slot. I think it's once again 3 save slots, Luigi, so even then though, I'm very glad that was the case, because unlike the original Wii U version of the game, it only contains 1 save slot, which is a little bit a giant step backwards from the likes of how it does it in Pikmin 1 and 2. Although I still will think that Pikmin 3 was actually one of my least favorite games of the entire series. Although don't get me wrong, it is an enjoyable game still, but it's just the fact that I just found the day time limit system can get extremely strict sometimes. Or, to be more specifically, with the forms of how to able to look after those Pikmin, because you guys should probably already know about that ever since in our Let's Play of Pikmin 3 back in 2017, where Daffy Duck managed to able to go super ticked off about the fact that he did lose a whole bunch of Pikmin and stuff like that due to the stupid sun time limit thing. So either way though, that's... Oh, I can really doubt it for the sake of time. Tell you what though, Luigi, if eventually we might get Pikmin 3 Deluxe after the Wii U was gone, like, pretty much dead, and also not to mention though, Mario, is the fact that we no longer gonna have to worry about just trying to able to get paid DLC for the likes of, compared to the Wii U version of the game, because in the Wii U version, you do have to pay a lot of DLC content, whereas in the forms of Pikmin 3 Deluxe, the DLC content was actually now finally built in, so in this case you don't have to worry about likely just go to the eShop every single time. Kinda does the same thing for the likes of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as well as, you know, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, so... Yeah, that's how it goes basically, Luigi, that's how it usually goes for this point, so... Anyway, another noticeable thing they actually did obviously added in is of course side stories, which there are 2 different side stories throughout the whole port to the, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say for this point right now, because I know it's been such a long while since I actually did done a lot of, you know, news, updates, or anything like that. But on the upside though, Luigi, is the fact that we recently managed to able to play Super Mario 35 recently, which, as far as I can tell, is the fact that the actual special events they did manage to able to host it into is the fact that obviously they managed to include Bowser in addition to Hammer Bros and Lakitus during some stages, which even then though that might be seems the case, and hopefully we might be able to get a chance to play that. And speaking of such though, Mario, is the fact that recently, alongside with the forms of some new info for Pikmin 3 Deluxe has been revealed. In addition to that, the special demo has been released just recently, so in this case, I don't know exactly what the demo is going to be played out in with it, but we'll double check on that until whenever we're done with this particular recording session, and then we'll discuss more about it until, you know, until the next video, until likely, we were going to be able to actually do these kinds of uploads, schedules, in terms of this game during you know, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, essentially. But we might able to actually include an extra upload during at some point on this Sunday in particular, because, obviously it's the fact that Tiana will able to go back into Casino Klonoa Moonlight Museum Let's Play at some point next week or so. So, yeah, that might take a while until whenever we're able to realize about that stuff, so... Anyway, so now we must move on to Daisy Cruiser, so... Again, not much else to say about this, because we've already said this since, the first part of this Let's Play, as you guys should know, so... But anyway, another thing is worth noting for is the fact that, what else is there? I forgot. Oh yeah, they mentioned about the forms of, the new stage they actually introduced during the forms of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and that was the fact that with this particular desert world, if you ever played Breath of the Wild before. And as far as I've noticed something is the fact that they actually got a main menu which appears to be inspired by Breath of the Wild pulse screen, which speaking of that actually, is the fact that most of these sound effects in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity borrowed the exact same sound effects as in, you know, the actual Zelda Breath of the Wild game. Yeah, no, Luigi, it's kind of impressive actually, because either way though, because of how the fact that it's more likely a prequel to the 2017 game for the Nintendo Switch. So, well, don't forget Mario, the Wii U version as well. Which, technically though, Luigi, is the fact that we can't be bothered to get the Wii U version just because it's pretty much the same thing except, well, with the amount of load times that you always have to able to actually just to put up with, so I can definitely see why you'd be going for this point though, Mario, so either way though, that's all you can really think about that for the sake of Calamity's sake. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get some more items, and hopefully we'll still need to defend ourselves for briefly worth knowing for, and that way we would be able to actually just well, try and not let these whole bunch of red shells to able to actually come over to us, so yeah. So yeah, about with the forms of the old cup tour cups throughout the whole game, each and every single uploads, whenever we do those kinds of stuff, will take a little bit longer in comparison to the forms of how it does in those 2 cups per video, just because of how the fact that it's going to be a ginormous marathon. So, yeah, that's as far as we can usually think about this, Luigi. So, anyways, now let's revisit to DK Mountain. So, in this case, we're about to be just trying to able to aim for first place, basically. So, not much else to say about this, apart from that. Oh yeah, another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well, is the fact that recently, in terms of Mario Kart Tour, that it has been a very, very long while since we actually did mention about more info in terms of Mario Kart Tour itself. That's what appears to be by the fact that we actually now start to realize that the Mario Kart Tour has become a year old, in this case 1 year old that we should probably say for this point right now, and basically they managed to start a actual the tour of it, so seems pretty cool all things considered. And as far as the amount of tracks they may able to include for Mario Kart Tour, the first anniversary tour, even though the previous one they've already done is obviously the Los Angeles tour, which I think that me and Luigi has forgot to mention about that ever since during forms of likely specifically whenever we first start this Let's Play up. And basically it's the fact that we actually got ourselves, let's just say back in the day, that we actually got ourselves, you know, the Pirate Tour, and also it applies to Summer Festival Tour, and especially noticeable with Super Mario Kart Tour, which it's kind of cool actually, because you get yourselves Donkey Kong Jr., Super Nintendo, and stuff like that, because that was the only time. Oh my god, what is going on with double hits? Oh jeez, getting hit by the actual incoming boulders, and also just getting hit ourselves by our green shells, which is a little bit, you know, describably despicable. But anyway, yeah, we got ourselves Los Angeles Tour ever since during forms of a couple of days ago, but now we still ended up in the first anniversary tour, which is going to end until 20th of October, so yeah, apart from the fact that you would be able to realize that we're actually getting ourselves even more cosmetic content as far as I'm mostly concerned with that stuff. To be more specifically known, Mario, is the fact that, well, we are obviously managed to get ourselves new drivers, which appears to be Shy Guy Gold variation, which, again, it's all cosmetic, and even then, though, it's just the fact of the matter is, though, much like, you know, Gold Dry Bowser, as well as, Golden, I would say, Golden Dry Bones as well, and even Gold Mario in terms of, you know, the Coin Rush mode or something like that, or Gold Rush as far as I like to point things out. And basically it's the fact that, well, they obviously get themselves some sort of a metallical kind of voice or something, so. Speaking of which though actually, Luigi, is the fact that we actually got ourselves a brand new course throughout in terms of the first anniversary tour. That's what appears to be by the forms of another installment in terms of New York Minute, which appears to be New York Minute 3, which I've never actually seen that track before, but what I've noticed something is the fact that this might be actually be pretty exciting despite the fact that we still pretty much quit in terms of, you know, Mario Kart Tour game, because again, sometimes if we manage able to play the game for about a few races later, then most of the time the game always crashes every single time whenever we do those kinds of stuff, which is always super aggravating, honestly, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, usually because of that though, that's all I can really think about for the sake of time. Okay, something's worth mentioning for this point as well, about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that I don't know exactly what the next tours are going to be, in terms of, to be more specifically, after 19th of October, but either way though, I think that's as far as we're able to talk about. Unfortunately though, if we managed to imagine if we managed to go back into Mario Kart Tour at some point. Unfortunately though, the Vancouver Velocity makes a comeback after the events of the Vancouver Tour, ever since in the very beginning of the entire year or something like that. Which, because the reason why we point things out, because for the love of God, we never ever experienced that particular tour when we able to actually first time playing throughout. This is pretty obvious, is because for one noticeable thing, since we still managed to get ourselves our downgraded phone, in this case iPhone 6 mind you, and also that every time whenever we're able to actually go into, not only in terms of Vancouver Velocity, but also that if you somehow finish the race, if you manage to play the game on your downgraded phone, basically the game will automatically crash, and as a result, we can't able to actually get our grand stars as reward. So I found it very super stingy. But luckily though, every now and then though, Mario, is the fact that we can now able to actually race into any cups at this point now. So at least we might as well give the game a second chance and join at some point in, I would say, for this weekend, and then that way we can able to discuss about the fact that, you know, of how do we able to actually think about the second thoughts of Mario Kart Tour as far as the actual mobile game is concerned. So unless if we're able to actually just get that game back. Although, to be fair though, Luigi, we're also able to actually just well, to be more specifically, we're also able to get some of the other stuff back. So, well, unfortunately though, we did manage to lost all of our data, so that means we don't have Toad, Toadette, and even especially noticeable with Metal Mario, or all the other jazz and stuff like that. So, unfortunately though, we did miss out on a lot of those events due to the forms of, despite we did manage to give up on it. I think the actual thing we actually got to the point we actually give up on, it was actually by the forms at some point in summer that we did manage to able to, well, just simply just give up on it, because, well, again, it's just not only in terms of microtransactions becomes the actual factor about it, but it's also the fact that, oh my god, that sometimes getting those super rare characters is always impossible. But either way, that's not getting ahead of ourselves at this point, Mario, because we're playing the actual good Mario Kart game, which is of course Double Dash, in, to be more specifically, a fan favorite game. At least back in the day that was, Luigi, ever since in 2003, so along the same lines though as the forms of F-Zero GX for the Nintendo GameCube as well, being made by not only Nintendo, but Sega as well as Amusement Vision, so, or AV for short, that one who was responsible for also made, you know, the two amazing Super Monkey Ball games for the Nintendo GameCube, which are obviously Super Monkey Ball 1 and Super Monkey Ball 2. So speaking of Super Monkey Ball actually, it's the fact that I'm pretty sure that, I don't suppose that Sonic is actually going to mention about this, but I think we'll let him mention more about it until at some point, likely next Tuesday. Because obviously that he's almost going to be done with that particular game until, let's just say he might able to finish that game up and join at some point next week. And then eventually whenever we're done with Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll, we're pretty much going to move on to the next one, which appears to be Super Monkey Ball 3D for the Nintendo 3DS. So, now after we're done with Super Monkey Ball 3D, there's going to be some more Monkey Ball content along the way, such as of course the one that started it all, Super Monkey Ball 1, and also same applies to Banana Splits for the PlayStation Vita, despite we still need to able to 100% that game first, before we're able to get that Let's Play started. and also Super Monkey Ball Adventure, which we refuse to talk about because that game's atrocious, I'm telling ya. Oh yeah, another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well. We did manage to able to actually accomplish the actual transfer system onto our Xbox 360 Slim recently during the forms of, oh, we missed the Starman! Ah, dang it. Oh well, no big deal. Especially noticeable that we're still in first place after all, so who cares about that? Anyway, the maximum amount of points you can get actually, for the sake of the All Cup Tour, the maximum amount of points you can go up to, it was actually 160 points. Yeah, Luigi, because obviously we're going to be racing onto 16 courses. Oh, speaking of Mushroom City, you know how the fact that we did done Mushroom City from the previous course, now we're going back into Mushroom Bridge, so that seems kind of strange. But anyway, yeah, we did manage to able to sort out the transfer system of our Xbox 360, and unfortunately, things didn't go well enough. For one noticeable thing, while we did manage to able to still have actually access to our save data in journey forms of our Xbox 360, the old one, but then, oddly enough, however, though, is the fact that, unfortunately, is the fact that, well, most of our content, specifically the Xbox 360 or Xbox Live Arcade downloadable stuff, let's just say we still managed to have ourselves Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, along with some DLC with it too, like, you know, Sonic Adventure DX, along with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and even especially noticeable with Sonic CD, and even especially noticeable with Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Sonic & Knuckles, Banjo-Kazooie, which we've already did done a Let's Play back in 2016, and also we were originally going to be planning for Banjo-Tooie at some point next year, and also we might able to actually get ourselves other games as well, mainly with Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, despite it was actually one of the uninspired games in the entire series, and also Episode 2 of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, because despite it was actually more superior than the forms of how it does in Episode 1. But either way though, enough about that, and unfortunately we ended up getting ourselves the trial versions instead. I think we did have a lot of issues with the actual licensing transfers, which unfortunately though, our old license has been blocked, which even then though we have to create a new one, and hopefully we'll try and able to get the majority of the games back. In addition to those, most of our DLC content was also non-existent as well. You know how the fact that we recently did done mostly DLC run-throughs for Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which are obviously Team Attack Amigos, as well as the very hard missions for Sonic Shadow and Silver, and also the boss attacks here and there as well. Unfortunately though, we no longer have those DLCs on the Xbox 360 version, but hopefully we'll get those back eventually. Even though despite the fact that we still need to able to come across into some of these little jerk-off, very hard missions, levels, likely for the most tedious one out of them all though, it might be still Shadow's very hard missions, because the very hard missions can go to hell for Shadow, because, well, it just feels a bit dragged on. Y'all know Luigi, I already know about this stuff. And also that you know how the fact that Deppy has also managed to did done a DLC playthrough of Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 version specifically, and that way it did manage to done that pretty nicely, even though despite a lot of trial and errors and stuff like that. And also we did show off the DLC for the likes of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, which appears to be Metal Sonic and Metal Sonic and Death Egg Zone, all in one particular DLC pack. And also, same applies to Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, you know, for Metal Sonic and Outrun Bay or Outrun Bay DLC. At least we still managed to have that back in the day. But unfortunately we seem to have lost it. But luckily, we can still able to actually access to it. But you have to pay likely £2 in order to able to actually get that DLC individually, so yeah, I was thinking about the same thing as well. So either way though, and I suppose that's pretty much as far as we can say. Although apart from the fact that unfortunately we have to restart our entire process of Sonic 06 again, which is incredibly a bad thing because, well, Silver's Dusty Desert is such a hellish stage. Yeah, just because of this stupid ball puzzle kind of segment. And also similarly is the fact that for Sonic Unleashed on the Xbox 360 version, unfortunately though, we still need to be able to collect a whole bunch of Sun and Moon medals, which has always been a incredibly obnoxious thing to do. Even because in order to be able to go through next levels, basically you're gonna have to collect all sorts of Sun and Moon medals, which hopefully that doesn't bother me at all. At least thankfully for Sonic Generations, I can just simply try and able to play that game during day one, because that way I can able to actually just to go for the entire game within the entire day or something like that. At least assuming out the fact that if we can able to do some optional challenge acts, which some of them are pretty fun, but some of them are pain. Likely due to the forms of affecting a crocodile, catching a musical note mission, because I seriously swear to God, I always suck at that mission. But it's a good thing in our Let's Play that we didn't even just decide to show this up, because, well, I just don't feel like trying to show that off, so. And now we're going back to Baby Park, in this case the most shortest track in the whole game. Well, at least we can still manage to race for about 7 laps in particular, so. So anyway, and also similarly is the fact that with our Let's Play of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, we don't have that much issues with that game, because we can still manage to have some fun and play around with it. And also, it's the fact that in terms of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, we might do the same thing as well. And also Rio for the Xbox 360 version as well. In fact, we don't know, we might as well able to do the redo Let's Play of that game again, just because we did manage to technically already done this back in 2015. However though, unfortunately though, is that the sound mixing is incredibly bad. Like I said before, because of how the fact that you can't really hear our commentary very well, just because of how the fact that the game audio seems to be annoyingly loud whenever they draw out the characters out. I mean, there's also this, the exact same present issue in terms of the, let's just say back in the past, for our Let's Play of, well, let's just say in 2015, that Sylvester has already did manage to, well, despite that particular Let's Play of Mario Party 2, was no longer there anymore. But hopefully until next month, that Mario Party 2 Let's Play will be up next month. And, usually because of this though, is the fact that the sound mixing is incredibly bad. Likely you can't hear our commentary very well, and also that you only hear the game audio, like, annoyingly loud and ambiguous. Which even then though, because, you know, we've already come across that issue ever since in Sonic Adventure 2, in specifically the HD port, the 2012 re-release, mainly with, you know, the sound mixing on that particular version, on the Xbox 360 version as well as the PlayStation 3 version, the sound mixing issues are incredibly bad, mainly with during the forms of these cutscenes in particular, so, yeah, because we just can't seem to hear it that loud enough. Well, to be more specifically, Luigi's, the actual, the dialogue is so hard to hear. And, also another thing we want to point things out as well, that's about the fact of the matter is, though, is the fact that, well, to be honest with you, there's not much else I can talk about, apart from the fact that, well, we're also able to test out our demo of Pikmin 3 Deluxe, assuming if we're able to actually just to give that game a second chance, compared to the Wii U version, I don't usually play it that much. Although despite that, Luigi, though, is the fact that we lost our save data on the original Wii U version of the game, just because, you know, relatively speaking, is the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, for our lives at the moment, we have incredibly bad luck in terms of the forms of some scenarios worth noting for. Mainly with the forms of back in 2010, that somehow we did seem to able to actually get most of our save data during the forms of our White Wii back in the day. That one time we did manage to able to have ourselves a whole bunch of virtual console games, most notably with Nintendo Entertainment System, as well as the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo 64, Sega Mega Drive, TurboGrafx 16, and also one Neo Geo game, and also one Commodore 64 game, which appears to be Jumpman, and one Virtual Console arcade game. And even especially noticeable, Luigi, is the actual WiiWare stuff. Although, unfortunately though, we're just becoming idiots back then, because we keep fiddling around with the actual Wii menu commands and all that stuff. But then, as soon as we're able to come across into ourselves this option called Format the Wii System Memory, which actually means is that it will delete everything, mainly with all the save data from your physical Wii games, and delete all of your virtual console games, including save data on those as well, and also similarly the WiiWare stuff as well. And look at that, we did manage to overlap Peach and Daisy, so that seems interesting enough. Oh yeah, talk about the forms of the actual card combinations actually, is the fact that whenever we just manage to show off every single exact same card combinations, if you couldn't tell, we're also able to actually show off some odd combinations as well. That's we might as well do that at some point whenever we move on to the mirror class eventually. So anyways, now let's move on to the final track in the Mushroom Cup selection, which appears to be, of course, Dry Desert. And talking of which though, Luigi, is the fact that we've pretty much went through the entirety of, I would say, all the tracks in Flower Cup already. So, I guess it's down to the forms of, let's just say, Yoshi Circuit, as well as Wario Colosseum, and, lastly, Rainbow Road. Because, you know, Rainbow Road is always going to be the last one in terms of the forms of All Cup Tour for the sake of clarity here, so yeah, that's all I can think about it. So, again, we do apologize if the actual commentary itself wasn't nearly as strong as we hoped it will be, but aside from that stuff though, Mario, is the fact that we did pretty much okay for this point today. Apart from the fact that with the actual U itself is gonna get worse and worse, so as you probably guys already know, so oh jeez, watch out for that tornado. Yeah, because if you manage to hop onto the tornado again, basically you lose an item, and also you will get flinged all the way up to the skies. Oh boy, whenever we do the All Cup Tour in mirror mode, by the way, Luigi, oh man, they'll give us a lot of frustration here and there. Especially noticeable though, Mario, is the fact that that was the only cup that we did not seem to able to complete at the moment. Although we might as well able to do that on our own time off screen, and that way we would be able to actually just able to, well, just trying to able to go and just like take care of it and such. Ah no! Well, there goes our banana peel after all. Oh well, not the end of the world, honestly. But at least we ended up in the final lap at least, so hopefully we should be able to actually just well, keep it up basically. Even though, despite the fact that Mario, it's the fact that 50cc is still the easiest class in the whole entire game. Yeah, I know, because the CPUs are getting super slowly and stuff like that. But then until when it gets to the point until 150cc at some point, then obviously it gets a little bit more intense and everything, so yeah, I was thinking about the same thing, so hopefully we might be able to finish that Let's Play at some point during at the end of October, before, let's just say, just right before around the corner, when Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, or Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, will be releasing until next week, as I said that before. And I'm not exactly sure of what set I might able to get, because obviously there was, there was actually two sets at the moment, which are the Luigi set and the Mario set, so and also in addition to that though, Luigi, is the fact that, speaking of Mario Kart's Live Home Circuit, is that obviously there's going to be some unlockables. Well, to be more specifically, returning from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as well as Mario Kart 8 as well, there's going to be some car customizations. However though, the biggest difference is now, rather than changing the actual the wheels or gliders this time around though, because there wasn't any gliders in that game this time around compared to Mario Kart 7 and 8. And because of that though, basically it's the fact that all it usually changes is the actual kart bodies. So, and also it's the fact that much like in Super Mario Odyssey, you can able to actually change your different costumes in between Mario and Luigi's. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. Especially noticeable how the fact that since that Super Mario Odyssey was still a successful game, even to this day, which, speaking of which though actually, is the fact that, Usually relatively speaking, until when it gets to the point until the 27th of October, the Super Mario Odyssey game will be 3 years old at that time. Oh yeah, talking of which though actually, Mario, is the fact that one thing we forgot to mention, especially Sonic didn't even mention about this either, recently the My Little Pony the movie 2017 will be, well recently actually, that film was now 3 years old, which, why does the time itself just manage to fly by? I have no idea why, Luigi. I have no idea. But even then, I'm sure somebody else around in this channel will mention about that until tomorrow, because there's going to be some special presentation going on. So, and of course, there won't be any gameplay videos going to be up for tomorrow. But again, we'll pretty much going to have to come back into this at some point on Sunday. But then that's about it, because again, Tiana will go back into Klonoa Moonlight Museum until the 17th of October, assuming she might able to actually just to, trying to go back onto the emulator on the Bandai WonderSwan, despite there are some very complicated menus and stuff like that, so, and also the actual adjustment to the actual, you know, the actual capture screen, so, yeah, that's how it goes basically though, Luigi, that's how it usually goes. Anyway, so we've been revisiting to Wario Colosseum, in this case the best track in the whole game, and because of that though, we can able to actually just to, well, what else? Just to drift along and stuff like that. I'm guessing the only two tracks we've only got left is Yoshi Circuit as well as Rainbow Road, so either way though, we'll able to actually just leave it to that. Oh yeah, another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that, usually when it comes to the forms of, everything else at the moment, well, not much else I can say, honestly. Although, apart from the fact that, well, unfortunately, we did have some bad news in terms of the James Bond fans out there. Unfortunately, though, the No Time to Die has been officially delayed again, except now the release date is, this time around, is going to be the 2nd of April 2021, which is just about a few months away, so this just sucks though, really. Especially noticeable how the fact that we did manage to watch all 24 films at the moment, like Dr. No all the way up to Spectre. But then after we watch every single part of it though, what the rewards we can get is nothing, aside from the actual delay, which is always incredibly bugging. And that's why that 2020, it is such a bad year for ourselves. Especially noticeable how the fact that, again, we'll pretty much gonna have to talk more about it until specifically whenever we get to the very end of this entire, the year itself, obviously. So either way though, we're gonna have to leave it to that. Although, the only good thing about the 2020 year, Mario, is the fact that the Sonic movie was actually really good. Yeah, and don't forget, Luigi, the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. So, oh yeah, I forgot about that as well. Even though some people might able to say is the fact that the actual year for Super Mario Anniversary is a bit lackluster in comparison to the forms of how it does it in, well, let's just say the 30th anniversary that we've got in 2015, which appears to be Super Mario Maker. And during in 2010, it's just basically the Super Nintendo game slapped onto the Wii physical disc. And that's as far as I can usually think about it. But, oh no, a pretty good year for Super Mario Celebration and stuff like that, aside from missing, you know, Super Mario Galaxy 2, which I still have no idea why. Nintendo seems able to actually forgot about Galaxy 2 to begin with, despite it was actually existence. But either way though, enough about that, and we'll just keep on moving along, watch out for these piranha plants and all that stuff. Ah, dang it, we keep on slipping off by those banana peels that are placed in almost every single segment of this entire track itself. Yeah, anyway though, aside from all that stuff we just mentioned, that's as far as we already trying to able to point things out. So, unless there are some news, updates or anything like that, until at some point whenever we get on to all Cup Tour videos, specifically for 100cc, 150cc, including mirror mode, we would be able to talk more about any other news in particular, so yeah, because all in all, that today's day, in terms of news updates, aside from a few that we've already mentioned, there's not much else we can talk about, sadly, so Anyways, let's go ahead and just toss the green shell from behind, despite the fact that no one else is getting closer to ourselves at this rate, so... Oh well, no big deal, but at least aside from that, about the fact that we're pretty much going to be dominated in terms of the evolves of this cup in general, so... And I'm feeling incredibly nerve-wracking, Luigi, honestly, in terms of more accurately the mirrored version of this particular All Cup tour, because we did manage able to try to succeed that back in long time ago, but we keep on getting owned by a lot of computer players. Or, to be more specifically though, Mario, is the fact that we need to be super memorized in terms of, to be more specifically, the layout of the track itself managed to go completely flipped, so... Yeah, I pretty much already know about that, so... Anyways, obviously, at the end of this All Cup tour, it's always going to end off in Rainbow Road, which is to be expected, so... Still, I really love this music, by the way, because it is so peaceful. Especially noticeable how the fact that it's almost like a pretty amazing Rainbow Road, along with the forms of the Mario Kart 7 variation of Rainbow Road. In fact, my favorite Rainbow Roads in the entire Mario Kart series will still have to be Mario Kart 7 Rainbow Road, just because it feels a little bit more different in comparison to the forms of the previous counterparts of Rainbow Road. Although don't get me wrong, we still enjoyed those. However, though, still one of my least favorite Rainbow Road courses will have to be by the forms of let's just say Mario Kart Super Circuit's Rainbow Road, because there are quite a lot of those jump panel walls, and otherwise you're able to actually start bouncing, and then if you get too much speed, if you manage to get onto the actual bumpy bouncing walls or jump panel walls, you're gonna be start bouncing and you just go fluke off all over the place. Which thankfully in Rainbow Road and this particular Mario Kart Double Dash is actually a much more of an improvement over the ones in Super Circuit, so... And speaking of Rainbow Road actually, is the fact that Rainbow Road is still a thing during the forms of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, except the fact that you can able to customize your very own racetrack now, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, you can now able to actually see some rainbow aesthetics and stuff like that, even though that's the only thing we're most likely to be more considered for that stuff. We really don't know if we might be able to do that Let's Play of Mario Kart Home Live, well, let's just say Mario Kart Live Home Circuit Mario. Oh yeah, because I don't know if we can able to actually do that Let's Play anytime soon, just because, well, this is the last homage to the forms of the Mario Kart Marathon at this rate, because, well, despite that we actually did done this game in the past, but again, that thanks to the forms of that pretty bad commentary and also a really terrible quality as well. And because of that, though, we figure we might as well to do this game again. But thankfully, the commentary itself looks a little bit more nicer and stuff like that. Especially noticeable with the, of course, the actual quality is much more of an improvement of the last time that we've been through ever since in 2011. Speaking of which though, Luigi, is the fact that the Maxi Toys YouTube channel will become 10 years old and during at some point in 4 months time now, so hopefully it should be pretty exciting, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, God knows of what that might gonna happen during the 10-year anniversary for our channel. So, yeah, that's as far as we can think about it. Although, the only questionable thing about the anniversary videos is that during the forms of 2014, if I recall, that we did done a 3-year anniversary, which we did manage to began the actual anniversary videos to begin with. And what happens is, though, is the fact that back in the day, for whatever reason, we choose the actual pop culture song. Or, to be more specifically, though, Mario, is the fact that we somehow almost got blocked by the actual copyright claims, which, I'm sure enough, though, that was a really nerve-wracking thing to do, especially noticeable how the fact that, imagine if we were able to get copyright claims on certain aspects, then obviously our video will be unwatchable if that will be still the case. Yeah, I know that, especially noticeable how the fact that since we have now grown older, we're pretty much gonna be used to with the forms of trying to utilize the different music instead of the actual, you know, just copyright songs and stuff like that, so... Anyways, let's go and do this last drift on this little spiral road, and we sure enough dominated the 50cc All Cup Tour. So, of course, this Let's Play is not exactly over yet though, Mario. It's just the fact that we still got, you know, other 3 classes to go through. So, in this case, next up, it will be 100cc. So, which we're gonna do the same, the amount of cups as we can go through. So let's see the reward ceremony in terms of All Cup Tour in 50cc. Obviously, Baby Mario and Baby Luigi are number 1. And I believe Bowser and Bowser Jr. was in 2nd place, if I recall. And I believe Wario and Waluigi are in 3rd place. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much what we can say about this. So, join us next time for more of Let's Play of Mario Kart Double Dash. It's the fact that we was able to do both Mushroom Cup and Flower Cup in 100cc, so things get a little bit more interesting to say the least, but we'll see what happens during that for the sake of time. So I'll see you guys until on Sunday. Yeah, later fellas.